right? Kind of just go over the steps for that, and then you'll have the rest of the time to work on whatever you need to do to catch up, which will be nice. I'm gonna pass out to you a hand copy of the prompt you're gonna write about for your first time write. I want you to handwrite your response because on the actual essay, if the year goes back to normal and we're done with COVID, right, they will have you handwrite it. And so if you've been practicing typing it up, your timing's gonna be way off, right? If we are still in like COVID situation come May, it'll only help you because then you'll just be typing faster than you would write, so bonus, right? So when you do this, I would just get some lined paper. I guess you could just do like a blank paper too, that's fine. But just handwrite your response, and you can either upload a picture of it on Canvas, or you can just bring it on the 25th, so it's due the 25th, and turn it into me, and then I'll grade it, the physical copy, okay? Okay, so if everyone would go on Canvas to this week, in the weekly overview, we're going to talk about the attack summary, which is basically like a step-by-step guide to success on this essay, okay? I'll give you a minute to get there. Did you guys get there okay? Yeah. Okay. Hello.
How much do you transfer for? She came in too late, so.
Thank you. So she's leaving, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, cool, thank you.
No problem.
See you later. Okay, so in that weekly overview, they've got all the stuff we did yesterday in class in Monday, or on Monday in class. Then for Tuesday, the first time write essay, so that's it's the same thing I gave you here. And then the attack summary strategy, that's what we're gonna look at. It, again, is like a step-by-step guide to annihilating the AP analysis time, right, okay? When you're doing time, right, you only have 40 minutes per essay. You're writing 3 essays in the essay time. So if you get behind, it's very difficult to make up like that time. So you want to stick as closely as you can to this outline, and not go overboard. It says up here at the top, no perfectionism allowed, okay? If you get into that perfectionist mindset, you're gonna slow down, and that will be bad. And they're not looking for perfection here, right? They're looking for just like, can you put together a cohesive argument in 40 minutes? So yeah. You also wanna make sure though, so even though you're like, okay, no perfectionism allowed, manage your time, that you are writing the entire time. So you shouldn't have like 20 minutes left over, right? Because AP is gonna reward development, meaning that the more you write and the more thoughts and evidence that you have, the better your score is gonna be, okay? So it's like, kind of like Price is Right rules, right? So you wanna do the best you can without going over, because you're not allowed to go over, okay? So, the first step is you are going to carefully annotate the prompt for 3 minutes. So whatever that prompt is, you can glean a lot of information just from the prompt about what you're supposed to do and what your essay should be about. So, first you're gonna You're gonna circle all the clues that help you understand the rhetorical situation. So meaning purpose, speaker, audience, context, all of that. And a lot of that they give to you, right, in their nice wordy prompt, okay? You're gonna try and imagine the situation and think like the writer. Like, what is the writer doing, why are they doing it, and how do we do it? So, let's look at your white paper and do that. Do this prompt. Go through, I'll read the prompt, and I want you to circle anything that helps you understand that rhetorical situation, especially purpose, speaker, context, all that, okay? So it says, in the following excerpts from her memoirs, Virginia Woolf reflects upon her childhood summers spent in a seaside village in Cromwell, England. Read the passage carefully, then write an essay in which you analyze how Woolf uses language to convey the lasting significance of these moments from her past. Okay, what did you guys circle that would help us understand the rhetorical situation? Yes.
I circled her name, author's name, and the time period.
Good, right? Because what does that help us with in the rhetorical situation?
Understanding that maybe the purpose and the audience.
Okay, good, right? We've got, well, if you underline her name, that tells us
Yeah,
who
speaker.
speaker is, right? And then the audience, right, her memoir, she's explained about her life, that gives us kind of some context about who the audience is. Most memoirs are written both for the person themselves, but also to explain their lives, so that would give us some hints there. And some of the context as well, right? She's writing about her life. Okay, what about the purpose? What did you guys circle that would help us know what the purpose is here? Yes?
Would it be to reflect on childhood?
Yeah, right, she's reflecting, and what is she, oh, sorry, it's not actually here, I'm only talking like that. She's reflecting, on significant moments from her past, so that is her purpose. So these are gonna be important moments from her past. Great. We already gleaned a lot just from that prompt before you even get to it. So when you're doing the analysis essay, spend 3 minutes on that prompt, and because if you don't understand the prompt and what you're supposed to be writing, it's very unlikely that you will write what you're supposed to, right? So 3 minutes on that. Okay, then you wanna spend 7 minutes annotating the passage, which is what we've been working on, right? So now you're very good at annotating, finding patterns, okay? Some things that you can annotate, mark any lines that relate to the purpose. So based on those clues that you just found in the prompt, where is she reflecting in this passage? What makes these moments significant? What moments is she talking about? Those would be good things to mark. You want to chunk the passage as well. Do you notice like big shifts in tone happening? You can kind of mark a beginning, middle, and end. Or maybe in this one, what are those significant moments? Like where do those shifts happen? Okay? Really think, what is she trying to accomplish? What is her strategy? And the way that you can kind of figure out her strategy is looking at those obvious rhetorical choices that she's making. So you're gonna look for all of those things in our rhetorical toolbox that we've talked about. Things like tone and diction. We talked about juxtaposition, appeals, so that's a rhetorical triangle, right? Repetition, allusions, anything biblical or historical, AP will really want you to notice. Anecdotes, those are like examples you're giving from your life. So when you're like, for example, maybe you walk into a blah, and you're like, she gives like an example of it, okay? Metaphors, analogies, or other figurative language. Things like parallel structure or rhetorical questions are a huge one. If you don't know what these terms mean, I would go look them up. Because if you can identify what the term is, AP will give you more points for that. However, if you're like, I noticed she's doing something, but I don't remember what it's called, that's okay. Still write about it. You can write about what she's doing and kind of just explain it. But if you can identify the term, that's better, okay? Okay, so 7 minutes, just marking up the passage. Then you're gonna start writing, okay? You wanna spend no more than 5 minutes writing the introduction, just a quick 3 to 5 sentence intro. On the next page on this, there's a sample introduction, okay? So you can read through that. the thesis statement, AP came out with like a formula. And last spring, when everyone went online, they posted all of these really helpful videos where they told teachers for like the first time ever, here's exactly what we want your students to do. Before we were kind of like, well, here's our best guess at what they want, but here they're like, use this formula. So you should use the formula that AP told us, right? And that formula is, you start by saying, by, and then you add 2 rhetorical choices. So you put 2 choices you notice that the author is making. The writer, and you just do the author's last name, some sort of a strong verb, and then purpose. So example, this person says, by contrasting approaches to life and relaying inspiring anecdotes. So those are the 2 choices that they just plug in there. Albright, so that's the author, just the last name, motivates, that's a nice verb there, right? Her audience to embrace life's challenges with confidence in order to persevere and ultimately change the world. So they just took the purpose that they found and stuck it in there. So with yours, you would want to say, by, 2 choices, wolf, some verb, blah, 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 and then the purpose reflects on her life, blah, 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 significance, okay? So you'll put that right at the end of that intro paragraph, okay? So 5 minutes on that, very quick. Then, you're gonna spend 25 minutes writing the body of the essay. Usually you'll have 2 paragraphs that are about 12 minutes each spent on that, okay? You could do 3 paragraphs at 8 minutes, but unless you have like 3 really distinct choices that you're noticing, they're all really super easy to write about, I would probably just do 2, because you're gonna get more development that way. You can pull a lot more examples, right? For each body paragraph, you're going to have a strong topic sentence. And the way that you're gonna do that is whatever that first choice you said, that's gonna be what you talked about in that first paragraph. So that's gonna be your topic sentence. And then you're gonna put the specific purpose accomplished by that choice. And then for the second one, you'll just take that second one and write the body paragraph about that and how that is conveying her purpose, okay? Within the paragraph, you're going to blend the following. So there's something called like the Peel method, right? And this is how they say that you should be analyzing the evidence that you're finding to support your point. So you'll put the P, and Peel stands for point, your topic, sentence, or claim. And then you're gonna repeat the EEL as many times as you can before your 12 minutes is up on that paragraph. So you'll put a piece of evidence, so you'll find some, if you're talking about diction, like these words, blue, 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 show that, right? So you think of those examples. Then you're gonna explain that and analyze your evidence, so it's like your commentary, right? And then you're gonna link that back to your thesis, okay? This is what people forget most, is that linking it back up to the purpose. They get so excited about their deep thoughts analyzing that they're like, oh yeah, I have to say that this is how it's, like this is why that they're doing that, to accomplish their purpose, okay? If you have more time, you can find more evidence and do another piece of evidence, explain and link. On the back side, again, so I guess on this one, scroll down to the next page, there is a sample body paragraph where they've highlighted in different colors these different parts. So the point, so there is obviously their topic sentence, and then they've got explanation. You should always kind of contextualize your quote right here, so you've got a little bit of explanation before, and then your evidence, and then your explanation after. And they've done another piece of evidence, explanation, and then they link it back at the end. That's often a good way to conclude your paragraphs, is that here's how it relates back to what I'm proving in my whole essay, and it creates that cohesion, okay? Any questions so far? Okay, once you've done that, you're gonna, after you've written the 2 body paragraphs, you're gonna write a very quick conclusion, just 3 sentences, in which you do one of the following. You're either gonna do a go global or noble, which what that means is you're gonna say like, here's how it relates to a larger audience, or here's how it like relates to like a moral thing that our society cares about, right? So something noble or global. And then you're gonna connect it back to your thesis at the end too, and so say, this all shows blah, 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 whatever her purpose was and how she accomplished it, okay? Here's a little sample conclusion where they've done that. So very quick, and sometimes it feels very rushed because you've maybe gone a little longer than you're supposed to on those body paragraphs, okay? questions? All right, so when you go home, I would just lay this next to you, have your paper, and walk. You can either print this out if you wanted, or you can just have it up on your computer, but handwrite your response, okay? And then you can either upload the picture again, or you can just turn it in, and I will grade it, okay? So that is due the 25th, which is not a day we have class, it's just like a Friday. You're welcome to turn it in before then. But try and stay on track with dates, because even though we're not really taking off like work this term, it's very overwhelming to get the time, right? And then the end of the term comes, and that really is like the drop dead deadline, and then you kind of have put yourself in a corner and don't get a good grade, right? Okay, the rest of the time today, you're gonna work on whatever you need to get caught up, because parent-teacher conferences are Thursday, and I would love for your parents not to yell at me. That's the best, right? So you can catch up. Some of you are a little bit behind, so you could do whatever you need to do. You could also work on your photo narrative, and we talked about that in class yesterday. So if you haven't watched that video, you'll want to go back and do that. You want to fill out that brainstorming sheet first, because what makes a good essay is or the narrative is the thinking that goes into it, right? You have a purpose. You want your reader to experience something. So you need to craft that for them in some of the ways we've seen our authors that we've read craft their experience for us to feel things, right? So if you do that, if you do a really good job with that brainstorming sheet, then it'll take you maybe like 2 hours to bust out the actual first draft, okay? So that first draft is due next class. I guess it's the day I don't have you, right? But Monday, the 21st. Then you can work on this, so I would do it kind of in this order, because that's the due date order, right? And then if you have those done, you could read your nonfiction book, which again is not due until October 22nd, which is the end of the term. Okay? Questions? Concerns? Awesome. So you can work on whatever you need to. That was so quick, right? So fun.